are all happily being recorded and broadcast on live stream, but there's nobody there, so that's fine.
There's too much distortion. This thing, this thing shouldn't go up beyond what these are. So if you need to keep going up, make sure these go up a little bit higher than that. So now let's adjust it. So we'll put it here and let's see. If we close this. I'll breathe in more. Please sit. Have you heard the Bhashya with Anandagiri Gita?
No, sorry, I don't think I do.
So
I have,
you just have this one?
I have that one, and I have, I only have, I have Gambhira, but it's all, that's what Swamiji has
Oh,
done.
that's the translation.
Yeah, I just have the translation,
But you have this.
and I have that, but I don't have.
Last time where I was reading Anandagiri Gita.
Shall I go, do you want me to go and check?
Yeah.
Okay.
Start chanting a little bit. Till the book comes, chant from chant from 59. Vishaya vinivartante Nidaharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate yatato hyapikanteya purushasya vipashchitaha indriyani pramatini Parante prasabham manaha tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita madvaraha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteju pajayate sangam samjayate kamaha kamar krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati
बुद्धिना शास्त्रनश्यति रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते.
Yeah, last time we saw a downfall, complete self-destruct of the person, for whom the raga dveshas are the rulers of the life. The raga dveshas are the two little horns that come out. Yeah, and they run the show. The raga dveshas run the show, so the person has disappeared, really. It's like some kind of a bad relationship where the other person is very dominant, and so one person just hides behind the other person or goes in the closet and the other person runs the show. So it's like a bad relationship where the raga dveshas become the alter ego. That's why we need an altar to surrender. That's why it's called alter ego, that which is surrendered at the altar. So these raga dveshas become a persona by themselves, and they, color the person completely and change them so much so that the person is not recognizable to themselves. So we saw the havoc they create in the last two verses, how it slowly builds up. Oh, this is such a sweet thing, I can dally with it, no problem at all, I'm in charge. And very soon, you're not in charge. In fact, this is what is the defense of every addict. I have given it up so many times, I can give it up again, no problem, whatever the substance is. And so too the raga dvesha, one feels, I'm on top of this, I can handle this, it's just a little bad, yes. How much trouble can one bottle do? Nothing. But that one bottle is just the start of 99 others. So this is this is what the whole thing is. And here is where the famous, what is it called, raga dvesha psychology of the Bhagavad Gita unleashes itself in full swing, and we saw the consequences of succumbing to the raga dveshas. And when you succumb to the raga dveshas, the person is gone, correct? And instead of doing namaskar to Bhagavan, one has done a namaskar to the raga dveshas. Two, in fact, one for each. And in other words, you have surrendered, Sashtanga, with all the 8 limbs, you have surrendered to the ragas and the dveshas, and there is no place left for anything else. And and we saw that the point is not to control the raga dveshas, because controlling is impossible, because then controlling the raga dveshas becomes another form of control, and you have to let go of that. And so we use the term raga dvesha what? Management. Yeah, and that's what they have borrowed from us, and have courses on anger management. Lot of borrowing without copyright, without acknowledgements. And the raga dvesha management course is here, an MBA in raga dvesha management, raga dvesha administration, and so this is what it shows. And to know how to administer the raga dveshas, it's important to see how they take one on the path of self-destruction, So it starts off innocently enough, sangaha, and the first what happens, dhyayataha, dhyayataha, Pumsaha, for the person who is just in contemplation. Oh, for the contemplative sage? No. Chintayatah Purushaha, for the person who is, obsessed with something. Here, dhyana means an obsession, an obsession with something in the mind. So now it's a fruit of the mind. It's a fruit of a fanciful mind, and the fanciful mind is contemplating, as it were, on the object of desire. And then what happens? The desire grows. Because obsessing on the desire is like watering it. And it's like putting miracle grow. The more you think about it. And then it says, "Tada! I'm not here. I'm not going away. I'm right here. I'm here to stay." Sangaha upajayate. And then what? Sangha turns into kama, bad news. Kama means a well-entrenched desire. First it was a fancy. And the fancy schmancy turns into a well-entrenched desire. I have to have it. And if the desire is fulfilled, well and good. We just go to the next step, which is have another desire. But here, just in case the desire is not fulfilled, what happens? Anger comes. So the source of all anger is thwarted desires. Thwarted desire, a truncated, punctuated desire is the source of anger. So what? Very sad. Yes. That anger, so what if I have anger? Anger is healthy. For whom? No, they say that you must not suppress. Yes, anger is healthy if the other option is to blow the top, like a pressure cooker. So in that sense it's healthy, but it has to be released in a very safe way. Like nowadays sometimes in certain areas, recently in a school playground, they found a landmine from the World War. So they had to evacuate the children, put them in a safe place and call the bomb squad and of course dig up the whole yard in case there were more, but they weren't. There was just this one which a child had recovered and was playing with it. And so they took it safely and detonated it under some close quarters. That's what one has to do with anger. It's like a landmine. You can't let it just burst off anywhere, it will kill you. That's why it's called suicide bomb. It kills you and a whole bunch of other people. That's what anger is. It's like a bomb strapped to your vest and you're in a public place and you give vent to this anger and of course it consumes you and it destroys everyone else around you. You target others inappropriately and then you are self-combusting as a result. How sad. And so this anger is not good because it leads to a condition called sammoha. Means very nicely diluted. A complete delusion. Delusion means you don't know who you are, you don't know who the guru is, and we saw how the person says to the guru the 3 words. Oh, what are the 3 words? I love you? No. What are the 3 words? You are fired. Fires the guru. And what does the guru say? I was never up for hiring in the first place. What is not hired cannot be fired. And the desire for moksha after firing the guru expires. That's all that happens. So krodhat bhavati sammoha. This is the unraveling, the slow process of everything unraveling. One is threadbare as a result. And then sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Don't know who you are, don't know who the other person is. Don't know your priorities, don't know why you exist, don't forget moksha. Even dharma, artha, kama, goals are gone. Then what? Smriti bhramsha buddhi nashaha. And the buddhi is the last to go, thankfully, but it's a mixed blessing because after it goes, then what? Buddhi nashat pranashyati, the person himself, herself is completely destroyed because buddhi means proper viveka, thinking is not there. When the proper thinking is not there, then may as well not exist. So, this was the trajectory that we saw in the last two classes. We have been seeing that, and to which Adi Shankara says that, how do you know that the person is destroyed? Purushartha ayogyo bhavati. Ayogya means not fit for having any ambitions. Even ambitions such as, I think I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, a simple goal, even that they are incapable of exercising, executing, because the person is destroyed. Now, the reason for mentioning this, up till now we have been building up on the Raga Dvesha psychology, and this is not just to show the psychology, and Lord Krishna doesn't want to show off as as the first Freud and the first Jung and say, I was there first, and then this Freud is actually a fraud, because I was the original psychologist, Vedantin and psychologist. It's not that Lord Krishna or even Vyasa, the writer of this, is showing off the psychological skills by analyzing this whole Raga Dveshas. There is a purpose behind it, because there are certain truths that the Gita is wishing to convey. First is that unmanaged Raga Dveshas lead to havoc in one's life, in one's relationship to oneself and others. And the second point that the Gita is making with the whole description of Raga Dvesha is that unfettered Raga Dveshas, unmanaged Raga Dveshas, derail one from moksha. That's what is the second one. And the second point is important because everybody who is reading the Bhagavad Gita, we assume them to be mumukshus. Mumukshu means what? The one who likes momos. No. Who is the mumukshu? Moktum ichu. The one who is desirous of being free of what? The hold of Raga Dvesha. Simple. That is the one who is the mumukshu, the one who is wanting to be free of the hold of all these things, the one whose mind and the one who wants to have a say over the mind, over the body, over the senses, the one who wants to be a swami of himself, herself. That is the one who is desirous of this mastery. Self-mastery is called mumukshu. And self-mastery begins with the self. You cannot tell everybody sit down, because I'm a master, you have to sit down. Shut up, sit down, get up. That's not the master, that's a dictator. There's a slight difference. And, that is a Hitler. Right? So a master is the one who is not bothered whether somebody is sitting or standing or getting up or, sleeping. They are happy with themselves and they are fine with who they are. So they have worked on themselves. And so the presence of the Raga Dveshas inhibits what? Mumukshutvam. Not just the presence of Raga Dveshas, the unfettered, unmanaged Raga Dveshas inhibits mumukshutvam. So if the desire for this knowledge is faltering, go back and do a Raga Dvesha check. Raga Dveshas, are you there? Yes! Very much so. We rule, we reign, pun intended. And we are here to stay. And so there is a inverse concomitant relationship between the rise of unfettered Raga Dveshas, unmanageable Raga Dveshas, and what is that? The receding mumukshutvam, like the hairline, it recedes in the wake of the unmanaged Raga Dveshas. When the flag of Raga Dveshas flies high, mumukshutvam goes, scutters away like a little bug under the couch. It just goes and hides because there is no place for it to express itself, even though that is the original Raga. is to be free. But here the other Ragadveshas have morphed into, and they have advertised themselves as the answer to the ultimate question of this individual seeking the ultimate. And they have morphed and they've muffled up the mumukshutvam, tied it up, and put a band-aid on its mouth and thrown it in the closet and thrown away the key. The other Ragadveshas have banded together and have just put this fellow behind lock and key. Who are mumukshatvam, the desire for the only desire. And what is that only desire? To be free of being a wanting person. That's the only desire. And the other Ragadveshas will not have it. How dare you? That means if you reign and if you get your way, that is the destination of all of us. Are we going to sit down and allow it, boys and girls? They say, of course not. What shall we do? Gag him up. So poor mumukshutvam is, tied up, mummified, and put somewhere, closed. And the Ragadveshas lose the key, and then they say, yes, follow me. What should I do? Follow me. Oh, but I want to follow Guru. Guru who? Follow me. I make lot of promises. One Raga says, what will you give me? I'll give you lot of ambition to rise to the top. I will even call one particular Dvesha by my side, and together we will have Dvesha for your competitors and Raga for you to succeed. And so all your competitors will be snuffed out, thanks to both of us. Who will snuff them out? Of course you will, but we are right behind you. So if I get caught, we won't go to jail, you will go to jail, but we are right behind you. Don't worry, we'll also hatch a plan to escape you from the jail, get you escaped from the jail. Don't worry. And you are in jail anyway right now because we have imprisoned you anyway. So, you just come with us, follow me. It is exactly what Mohini. Who is Mohini? An avatara of Vishnu. Yeah, transgendered Vishnu. A transgendered avatar of Vishnu had to come because this knowledge of immortality that we saw this morning was being churned from the ocean. Ocean is the unconscious. The ocean is the unconscious, and the unconscious is full of ragadveshas, hissing, spitting things. And first that's what came out when the ocean was churned. And then one side the suras, the devas, and the other side the asuras. And the snake was the churning rod. Snake is Shakti. Poor thing, really I felt sorry for it. And the asuras were tricked to, who will hold the side that has the mouth of the snake, right? Yeah, nobody in their right mind. So the gods, the devatas said, we bet you will not able to handle its breath because it was so toxic. Vasuki was its name, poor thing. It was so toxic that each time all it had to do was exhale, and a few of the asuras would just faint. This is how it was. It was that toxic. So the devas didn't want to keep fainting. And so they told the asuras, they used reverse psychology. And they said, you are not brave enough to handle the mouth of the snake. They said, yes we are, yes we are, yes we are. This is how they manipulated the ragadveshas of the asuras. And the asuras ended up with the mouth of the snake. And then these people were with the tail. Not that the devas fared any better because it would lash out and a few people would have concussions. Few of the minor celestials would have concussions and had to be revived with a hanky. And here also same thing was happening. Poor thing, it would breathe very rhythmically, and each time it breathed, what would happen? Few of them would faint and they had to be revived with a hanky on this side also. Somehow the ocean was churned because they were told that a present lies underneath the ocean. the secret part of the nectar of immortality. And so to get to the secret part, some dragons came out, some horrible things came out, and the collective unconscious came out in the form of hala hala. Yes, vile sounding and vile tasting it was, and it put hemlock and all the other, cobra bite was just like a little love bite. I mean, it put everything else to shame. It was so toxic. Now Vasuki's breath was toxic. It was making the asuras faint. But when hala hala came out, Vasuki himself fainted. It was that toxic. Terribly toxic. And of course Lord Shiva took that poison and through his own magic stopped it from entering his bloodstream and neutralized the collective unconscious. So and this was on Pradosha day. That is why we celebrate Pradosha. On the 12th day of the waxing moon, this happened, that the prasada was given, that if you surrender to me, your unconscious is under my purview. It no longer belongs to you. Your pains and sorrows and all the inhibiting factors, your raga dveshas are no longer yours. They are neutralized, just like this poison was neutralized by me. And this is the blessing on the 12th day. And so then after that, finally, the pot of immortality came, the secret of immortality. I think the pot really contained the liquid Upanishads. They must have. Because merely from drinking, this is all allegories. The Puranic stories are all allegories. So maybe they contain the Upanishads in a liquid form, ingesting, assimilating, which one was rendered free of death. Correct? And so then a very interesting thing happened. What happened? The Asuras also, side by side, along with the Devas, sat down to enjoy the immortality. But this nectar of immortality, Nadeyam, don't give it to people who are not ready. Who were not ready? The Asuras. Of course they were not ready. It's just like giving a serial killer Vedanta, and saying you are akarta, you are a non-doer. He'll say, great. I didn't kill anyone. I'm a non-doer. It's all as though. Yeah. You can't give Hannibal, this knowledge. Hannibal is some movie killer. Yeah. He has people over for lunch, literally. And so you cannot say that you are not responsible for what you do, because without the knowledge of dharma, what is to be done, what is not, karya, we saw that last time. Karya jnanam. So what is akaryam and akaryam, what is to be done and not to be done, that those basic attitudes and values have to first prosper in the mind, then only this knowledge can come. Otherwise this knowledge cannot come. Now they were in a dilemma because the Asuras said, hey, you tricked us to be at the mouth of that stupid snake, and we have lost half the people are still fainting because of this toxic breath. And we worked hard. We held one side and we went back and forth, and so we should be rewarded. So they were in a quandary. And Lord Shiva, if he had been there, he would have said, oh, poor things, let them have some. Lord Shiva is said to be very forgiving and, quickly answers everyone's prayers. He said, okay, you all have a cup, give them a drop, like tirtha, little sip. But that's why all the Devas did not pray to Lord Shiva. He is useless in this situation. They prayed to Vishnu, who is very strict. Vishnu has had to extricate Lord Shiva from many such very difficult situations. One time he had to, now this is like the Mahabharata, it is going from one story to another. He had to extricate Lord Shiva from himself, from his own peril. Vishnu, because Lord Shiva encountered a demon called Bhasmasura. Now Bhasmasura wanted he's so called because he wanted a boon. What was the boon? Anything I touch should turn into ashes. And Lord Shiva said, harmless boon, okay, no problem. Strange but harmless. Tadhastu. And then the fellow said, come here, I want to touch you. Lord Shiva ran through all the three lokas. And the Hare Krishnas love telling this story. And he stormed into Vaikuntha when Lakshmi was pressing his legs and shooed Lakshmi out of the way and got hold of Vishnu's legs. Hare Krishna's love, this is a Hare Krishna moment, they should have it. And where Shiva is supplicating to Lord Vishnu and said, save me, this demon is wanting to touch me and reduce me into ashes. And that time also, Lord Vishnu took a transgendered avatar. And he is famous for that. Resplendent, beautiful, and if anybody thought this woman is too tall and too strong looking, they didn't mind, they didn't bother, they just were so attracted. And here too the Asuras were very attracted. I will finish the Bhasmasura story later. The Asuras were very attracted because all the Devas prayed to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu came as Mohini, from Moh to delude. Mohini, she who deludes, the expert in delusion, not herself in creating. Yeah. Causal, deludayati, so causal delusion. Yeah, you have to put a niche there. Causes delusion, not herself deluded, causes delusion. So then she just went, stayed in front of the Asuras who had lined up in front of plantain leaves to taste this Amrita, this pot that came out. They all wanted their share of the immortality potion, and she just went chan 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 on the anklets and trinkets and little bling and everything, went ting 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 and made a noise, all the anklets and the bracelets, clashing, clinging, clanging against one another. And they were like, who's this? Who is this? Who's this? So attractive, so tall. How wonderful. Who are you? Oh, me. They call me Mohini. Come along, boys. I says, oh, but we want potion of immortality. She says, I have the potion. And she just showed them a little pot. It was a dummy pot. It just had payasam in it. Not payasam of immortality. It just had regular kheer. That's all it had. So she took them aside and fed them. So, and before they came back, the Devas polished off every drop of the thing. So why was I telling this story? To show the Mohini is a delusion, and the delusion is preceded by the horns of dilemma called the Ragas and the Dveshas. And so it's the whole story of being misled. What was their priority? What was their priority? Immortality. From immortality, they chose that which is time-bound. And the Avatara was, of course, a prayer body, very time-bound. And when they tried to embrace her, you should see that the Bharatnatyam dancer tried to portray this. It's so much, so funny. So one Asura goes and after having his share of the payasam, tries to hug her and she disappears. And she appears somewhere else, and then another Asura tries to embrace her and poof, gone, And like this, as long as the Raga Dveshas are in charge, Mumukshutvam can make a few sounds. Let me out! What are you doing? Few sounds. That's it. Mumukshutvam is stifled, snuffed out, and the Raga Dveshas sit on Mumukshutvam and don't let it talk. And so the second reason why this whole trajectory is given in such detail is to show the link, the inverse link between the drenching of Mumukshutvam. The fire of Mumukshutvam is, extinguished. Just a little spark is left somewhere inside deep by the waters of the dampening waters of unbridled ragadveshas. So if you want to protect the kindling of mumukshutvam, attend to the ragadveshas. Clean them out. That is the reason why this is mentioned. And the third reason for conquering, mastering, managing ragadveshas is because the management of them gives a certain kind of a relative tranquility which is very close to the absolute shanti which is one's nature. Not the everyday nature, but that which is expounded by the Shastras, one's true nature. Nijatma Swarupa. One's true nature is that of Shanti, an abiding peace. Even though one says, I don't want peace, I want happiness, that happiness can only be had with this background tranquil nature. Because for the one who is untranquil, as it's going to be shown, what happiness can be there? To put it in Sanskrit, Ashantasya kutas sukham. Where is the sukha for Ashanti? Because if someone is restless and untranquil, the untranquil and restless mind, if you give that person the most desirable thing or the most desired thing, they're not able to enjoy it because of adhyatma ashanti. So therefore, this ragadvesha management, in other words, leads to shanti, and that shanti is a very important precursor to the knowledge. That shanti also protects the mumukshutvam, and therefore one has to protect what? Not the ragadveshas. The mechanism to master the ragadveshas must be carefully nurtured. Then Adi Shankara, introducing the next mantra, says, Sarva anarthasya moolam uktam vishaya abhidhyanam. So the cause of all distraction, is dwelling upon the objects of raga and dvesha. Dwelling upon the objects, or be obsessing about the objects or people or events or whatever it is. Sarva anarthasya karanam. Moolam means karanam, the cause. Moolam is the root. So the root cause of all what? Unrest and all kinds of problems with concentration, etc., and with focusing on the knowledge is because the mind is distracted and preoccupied with focusing on something else. In other words, the ragadveshas, unmanaged ragadveshas, are the root cause, are to blame for the person being purushartha ayogyaha. And therefore, now that we have seen the cause of unrest and the cause of destruction of the person, of self-destruction, so to speak. Self-destruction is the destruction of the buddhi and the focus and the mind. Now that we have seen the cause, now he says, Adi Shankara says, let us see how moksha is gained. Atha idanim, therefore now, what shall we do? Moksha karanam idam uchyate. Now we shall see. Now it is going to be defined. What is going to be defined? The cause of how to gain moksha. Not the cause of moksha. The cause of moksha is knowledge. But here, the background mental state of how, what kind of a mind one has to command for the knowledge to sit and have a cup of tea there, that is what is described in the next 2-3 verses. After which this whole particular section will kind of taper off, conclude, and we start on another section. So, we'll chant this verse again. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayanindriyaishcharan आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा
आत्मवश्यं विधेयात्मा
प्रसादमधिगच्छति.
प्रसादमधिगच्छति.
Yeah. तु रागद्वेषवियुक्तैः आत्मवश्यैः इन्द्रियैः विषयाञ्चरन् विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति. Tu means whereas. Whereas what? Whereas is always a contrast. First was with a person who self-destructs, and the other is the person who has learned the art of self-preservation for the sake of knowledge. Correct? So, this too means whereas. So, having described the bad news, now the good news is going to follow. Good news is, the first was the person who has succumbed to raga dveshas, and here is the person who is viyukta. Viyukta means what? Free. Yuktaha means endowed with. Viyuktaha, is free. Is free of what? Raga dvesha. Here is the one who is free of raga dvesha. Free of raga dvesha means a managed raga dvesha package is there with that person rather than an unmanaged raga dvesha package. In fact, when you say package, there's already a management going on because it's nicely categorized and put away. So here is a managed raga dvesha package. And a person, of course, the raga dvesha, a managed raga dvesha cannot be without an antahkarana. It has to be inside a certain mind, inside a certain head. So that person is being described, not just the managed raga dveshas. Got it? So raga dvesha viyuktaha is a compound that describes not the raga dveshas, but a person who is free of the hold of raga dveshas. So such a person, raga dvesha viyuktaihi, by such a person who is free of, vimuktaha, the free of raga dvesha, then what? Atmavashyaihi. Atmavashyaihi, means the one who has the atma, means the mind here, the body-mind complex, under one's say. The mind is under whose say, the buddhi is under whose say, the one who is together in that way. Vidheyatma means the mind, the mind who listens to oneself. One doesn't listen to the mind. The mind is available for whom is called Vidheyatma. So you see, these are all adjectives for this one person. The one who is free of raga dveshas, the one who is Atmavashya, Atmavashi, and Atmavashaha means the one who has Atma. Atma here is not Atma in the texts, not the traditional meaning. Here it means the one who has their own persona, the body, mind, sense complex under their management. They know what their limitations are. They know what their talents are. They know what their issues are. They take responsibility for that. They don't sort of vomit everything on everyone else. And who are able to do this is called Atmavashaha. So Atmavashyaihi, Atmavashi, and Atmavashyaihi, and then Vidheyatma, the one to whom the mind listens, Vidheyatma. And so such a person, what do? They don't have to move to the Himalayas, Bhagavan says, to the high Himalayas. I told you I was offered a cave there. And so you don't have to go into a cave apartment sitting in the high Himalayas overlooking a glacier. That's all you see all day long. A rock covered by ice, 365/7. Okay? So, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's not that you have to repair yourself somewhere, because what's the point of working on yourself if you can't enjoy it with others, really? That's one, that's just a joke, but that's not the reason why one works on oneself. But still, having done all this hard work is not just so as to repair to the Himalayas. If you want to repair to the Himalayas, you can be a Ragadveshi and repair. Really, you know. In fact, you'll be doing the world a favor by removing yourself, from the equation. Correct? Nobody has to deal with you. Like if all the Jamatagnis, Durvasas, and Vishwamitras repaired to the Himalayas, then the world becomes a more peaceful place. These were all very excitable rishis. Yeah. Excitable rishis? Yes. How can they be called a sage and excitable? Is that not an oxymoron? No, it is not. Why? Because that shows that we have to have a healthy respect for both the sage and the Ragadveshas that they were trying to battle. And a lot of compassion for ourselves, saying that even if such a sage had such a hard time overcoming the Ragadveshas, what to talk of people like us in Kali Yuga? That is how we have to think. We should not immediately, strike through the name of the sage, So this is what we have to see, and that is why they are given as prototypes, they are given as examples. They were exalted sages, yet they had little outbursts or big outbursts. So the outbursts does not take away their exaltation. The outbursts show us that we have to have a healthy respect. If not for the sage, for the Ragadveshas, we have to have a healthy respect for that and show us the tenacity of the Ragadveshas, that even these sages who worked so hard and strived, in so many different ways, had a hard time combating it. It shows that, such a hold, they is so tenacious. And so here, the point is not to repair to the Himalayas, because now the person who has mastered the Ragadveshas is free. There is no need to repair to the Himalayas and be away from everything, because the person who is striving to be away from everything is bothered by everything. Not all sages, but generally the one who wants to go away. Like who wanted to go away in the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, why? Because he was bothered by the war. He wanted to go away and, and started to go. First he wanted to stop by a dhoti shop that sold orange dhotis. And then after that he wanted to, in other words, he wanted to take sannyasa and then go to some place and sit there forgetting all about this war. So, when one wants to run away, it shows that there is a dvesha in operation, correct? There is so raga approach, dvesha avoid. So that avoidance makes me run away from everything. I want to be undisturbed. One Swami said, came to Pujya Swamiji and wanted a room somewhere. I want to be undisturbed, I want to do sadhana. Okay. And Swamiji arranged for him to go somewhere, and he was an elderly person and said, the food is not too far, you can go, they give free food at this temple, you can just go there. 2 months he was back. No, too many devotees. I want to go further into the Himalayas. But why? Look at you. You're old and you have. He had just been recovering from pneumonia. And in this cold, where you'll go, you'll get all kinds of bronchitis, pneumonia, everything. Do you really want to? No, I just find me a place there. Okay, found him a remote place. May not be a cave, but some kind of a situation where he could not get down and climb up to go to the food, but Pujya Swamiji arranged for someone to bring him food one time a day and drop it off on some kind of a high mountain. And in 2 months, 1 month he was back. I can't meditate. If you can't meditate there, where can you meditate? What's wrong? Too many birds, he said. They keep going, cheep, cheep, coo, 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 coo. I can't meditate. This is what the thing is. So, this is all a very interesting dvesha in operation, avoidance, because I can't stand people. And the person convinces themselves, I'm really above and beyond all these lowly mortals, They these samsaris. I can't be part of samsara. I am, I am a Pahunch Gaya, means I have reached. And, these people are still bottom feeders and they are still, just scraping the surface of samsara and sucking out whatever is there. I am floating on it. And so I can't be with all these people who are full of ragas and dveshas. I only have one dvesha, that is for them. And I am beyond and above and beyond all these things. And this is what is that? Enlightenment, ahankara. Yeah, one has to be very, 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 very cautious. Extremely cautious. Because then one feels like, oh, I'm the monarch of all I survey. One poem has that. Kipling, right? Kipling wrote that poem. And, from the center all round to the sea, I'm the master of everything I see. And, I'm this, I'm that. I'm a big Mahatma. Everybody should do namaskar. And if they don't, they've had it. Everybody should serve me, everybody should keep on fanning me on one side and peeling the grapes, with gloves on the other side. And they should do this to me. This is what is called, quote unquote, enlightenment, ahankara. But isn't that an oxymoron? How come enlightenment and ahankara can stay side by side? It is the ahankara that's trying to push aside the burgeoning knowledge. The ego has not yet completely found its place, in the shoe rack, and so it's flying high and it is threatening to displace the knowledge by occupying its place. So that's when the person starts to get all funny, In fact, they were better off as a student, really. So much ahankara, everybody should do this to me, everybody should do that, and everybody should, serve me and feed me and take care of me, and this is what is very, very dangerous. And so here, there is nothing to, here is the true jnani is being described, not the sudden, not the kadachit kaha. Kadachit kaha means the occasional jnani, sudden burst of knowledge and then all these kinds of things, because the knowledge obviously is there, but it is not fructified and it's not abiding enough in them. And so therefore, the person is not matured. And here we are talking of a person who is matured because the tu comes in, whereas this person is of a very high caliber jnani, the one who has the mind under one's say, rather than come under the sway of the mind is in their own say, and such people, they have, they are free of ragadveshas, and they are, they have managed all their, ragadveshas through a life of karma yoga, which is not mentioned here, but we have to bring in. Through a life of karma yoga, they have managed the ragadveshas, because the best antidote for ragadveshas, unbridled, is karma yoga. Doing things that need to be done, and without the sense of doership, by dedicating it to Ishvara and accepting whatever result comes with a certain humility and gladness. That whatever comes, comes. So this is karma yoga, and the karma yoga, and these people are very accomplished karma yogis. The accomplished karma yogi has a say over the ragadveshas. Here the fears and the tears and the desires have no say. What needs to be done has to be done. And so then what? Then we have the jnani here, who, having led a life of Karma Yoga and of course studied this knowledge, has that equanimity and has that mastery over the Raga Dveshas, described as Raga Dvesha Viyuktaha, and Atma Vashi and Vidheyatma. So such people, what do they get? They gain tranquility, prasadam adhigacchati. Here prasada does not mean laddu. Yeah, a reward, a ball of calories, that is what is the translation of laddu. And a ball of calories, made, held together by sugar syrup. Correct? Ghee and sugar syrup. In fact, all Indian sweets are incomplete without ghee and sugar syrup in immeasurable quantities. And so this is not a laddu. So the prasada, also has another meaning, which is tranquility, commanding a certain cheerfulness of mind. And so here that tranquility is described, not just what you get out of the temple. In fact, laddu is prasada because it makes you happy. Here the person is even better because happy without laddu. And so that is the thing. And sometimes, people used to come to the ashram and they would call and find out what is being cooked today. What's on the menu? And a very surprised manager would say, well, today we are having sambar rice and kesari bhat. Kesari bhat is some kind of sweet rice. Okay, we are coming. Because there is that sweet, dripping in ghee and sugar, of course. And and the Swami there, at that time would lament, because just prior to the lunch was the Bhagavad Gita class, where perhaps this very verse was taught year after year, which nobody was interested in. So the Gita class was from 10:30 to 12:15, and the lunch was at 12:30. Correct? So nobody would come for the class. The classroom was so vacant. You could count the people on two hands, just a few people who, just came. And then of course, it's not easy being an acharya of an ashram, because the Swami had to guesstimate how many people would come for lunch. So seeing the crowd, he would have called the dining hall and said, oh, just 20 people. By the time 12:15 rolled on, there were 150 more people that had joined just for lunch. Correct? And then what? And the Swami complained to Pujya Swamiji. What should I do? I'm frustrated. I prepare my material so nicely and I go there to teach, and just a few people, half of them asleep. And then they call the cook to find out what is being made, and they come in drones at 12:15. What should I do? What was Pujya Swamiji's answer? Put another pot of rice on. That's all he said. Put another pot of rice on. Let them come for lunch. No problem. But they're not coming for the knowledge. Let them not. Yeah. And so, like that, here is a tranquil person who is, prasidati, who is happy by themselves, who have that they command a tranquility because there is no inner noise. What kind of noise? Raga Dvesha noise. Hissing noise of the Raga Dvesha serpents. And there is no pent-up anxiety of not getting what I want. There is no pent-up anxiety that I'm not able to protect what I already have. there is no fear, there are no tears, there is a certain kind of a happy-go-lucky nature. Like that Pandit in the temple in Swamiji's village. In Pujya Swamiji's village, there was a Pandit, and everybody made fun of him because they said he was not really a Pandit, developmentally challenged, didn't really go to school, went to Vedic school, learnt a few things, just enough mantras to, do everything from all the samskaras from birth to death. He could just manage, and he was doing puja in the temple. Sundays was his day off, and he would just buy a bus ticket. This was his idea of fun. And then he had a little tuft of hair that the traditional men have, that had to be tied up, and on Sunday it would be let loose. And he would sit in the window. He had a particular seat that everybody let him have because he was such a cheerful, harmless person. And he would sit in the window of the bus and go all around town with his tuft flying freely, and him just smiling a big smile. It was his idea of fun. Every Sunday he did that, for a number of years. 30, 40, 50 years he did that. And then of course when his time came, he passed away. And then, all the villages where this bus had gone through, everybody came for his funeral. Everybody knew him because of that infectious smile. So that he enjoyed that prasada. He didn't think himself capable of anything else other than what he was doing, and he was fine with that. He did not feel jealous, why I have memory problems, why the other person can rattle off all the shlokas and the mantras and I can barely manage Shanno Mitra. He didn't have any such complexes. He enjoyed the tranquility. And I think Pujya Swamiji had to speak at his funeral, and this is what he said, that he enjoyed this tranquility, which could have made even the gods jealous, This is what it was. So this prasada here, it has to be taken in two ways. One is the prasada coming out of a seasoned Vedanta exposure to Vedantic knowledge. So here we are talking of a jnani, or it's a prasada of a mumukshu awaiting the knowledge, abidance in the knowledge. Both ways, or most of these verses are taken both ways. The same verse operates beautifully for the jnani, and it also operates for the mumukshu. Then we have to take vidheyatma and ragadvesha viyuktaha in relative, not absolute terms. So prasadam let us just see the meaning first, then we'll see it in detail. Prasadam adhigacchati. Adhigacchati means gains this tranquility. It sounds so wonderful, right? Tranquility is what we want. There's this inner chatter, there is so much disturbance, there are so many fears. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. One is in a state of anxiety all the time, and starting with so many things. As Swamiji would say, bugs and bugging people. One wants freedom, but the bugging person is really within, in the form, the things that bug the most are not the bugs outside, but the ragadvesha mosquitoes, that eat up from within. That is what has to be mastered, because the world is not going to change. The world is what the world is. And the world is a stomping ground for everyone's karma. So obviously it will have interesting and challenging things in it. And that I find it challenging is because of my own ragadveshas. I'm not able to be dispassionate about those things. And therefore what? So therefore when I have self-mastery, then I can have pain or discomfort, but it doesn't translate into emotional pain. I can have certain difficulties, like loss of money or loss of some loved one, but it does not have to translate into an emotional impairment. So that is the level at which the tranquility operates. And this tranquility when it is there, then everything is surmountable. If it is not there, the whole life is insurmountable. The whole life is seen as an obstacle course. And so, here the tranquility is very prized, and the tranquility is there when the raga dveshas, meaning my own expectations and my own agenda, are managed. When the agenda is not managed, then the tranquility goes away. Where does it go? It goes the same place where the mumukshutvam is tied and bound. It's also tied and bound. The tranquility is there. It doesn't have to come and it doesn't come and go. When I say it goes, meaning it is inhibited in its expression. I am not able to enjoy the tranquility. But here is a person seasoned by the knowledge and a seasoned karma yogi, or just a seasoned karma yogi who is determined to gain the knowledge, gains this tranquility by managing the raga dveshas. And managing the raga dveshas gets to the place where the mumukshutvam shines brightly, where the desire for the knowledge is rekindled because the raga dveshas are no longer holding it hostage. That is what happens. And this is what is the person prasadam adhigacchati. How adhigacchati? Vishayan indriyaihi charan. Meaning moving around in the world of objects. Doesn't need to go off to the Himalayas and be by themselves. Where are they? Right where everyone else is. What are they doing? Right. They may be also eating, drinking, doing all the things that they are doing. In fact, this is an answer to Arjuna's question. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sthitadhih kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim vrajeta kim. How does the person move around? That part is being answered here. Moves around just like everyone else. Eats, sleeps, drinks, walks, talks, with a big difference. And the difference is internal. Internally unaffected by everything they do. Externally looks the same. Internally unaffected, unafflicted. Internally filled with prasada. Externally you cannot even see it. This is not a prasada show off. I'm so happy, I'm so happy. No. So, the indriyaha vishayaihi charan. The indriyas are, the sense organs are moving around in the world of sense objects, but they are not clinging to those objects because the sense organs are not overpowered by the desire. The sense organs are not enslaved by the raga dveshas. And so you look at something and you are able to appreciate it without saying, when will you be mine? You're able to appreciate it for what it is. And this is, something that comes with practice. In the beginning you feel like, oh, I don't have it. How come I don't have it? How come it belongs to this person? Let's see, where is it available? Amazon? Okay, maybe I should go there and order it. Oh, it's not available on Amazon. Okay, a little tricky because everything, including your great-grandma, is available on Amazon. Why not this? So, a little tricky. Let's see, maybe some exclusive store. Oh, it's not available online? Oh, then I have to go and place an order somewhere? Okay, even that's all right. And now the want increases. The more elusive it is, the want increases. Yes, I have to have it. That's why everything in America is limited release. Limited, yeah. So that it fosters that scarcity mentality that one already has. Oh, there's only so many. And people collect useless things because of this. They fall into this so many things. And these bean babies. What is that? What is that?
Beanie babies. Beanie babies.
Beanie baby, yeah. And all just rubbish. Filled some black-eyed peas inside one stuffed toy. At least that's what it felt like. Somebody said, this is very expensive. This is going to become very expensive. I said, really? And when I got to somebody's house, they said, this is all limited edition, limited release, limited this. And now nobody even wants it. If you sell a beanie baby, you have to give $10 along with as dakshina, along with the beanie baby. Then only people will take it. In fact, they will try to take the $10 and leave the baby in your hand, left holding the baby. And so, like this, everything is hyped up to bring out that scarcity. And so the person who is the moving in the world of sense objects is too much. So that limited release creates an akanksha. Akanksha means an anticipation. Yes, I have to have it. Once I have it, I'll be complete, because the person is feeling incomplete. And so one does all kinds of things to gain that. But that is not the person being described. Here, the person is able to appreciate the object and then say, that looks nice wherever it is. Swasthane vishishyate, in its own place. It is glorious. And then one can reason with oneself. As one is managing the raga dveshas, you imagine that object in your house. And then you say, oh my God, what a waste of space. And especially if the object is sentient, like a puppy. Or then you say, okay, first rule of puppy is that they grow out of puppyhood. Correct? And so they outgrow their cuteness. And they are not cute. And then even children, same thing happens. At teenage, very few parents find the children cute. And so like this, you have to see that. You have to see the whole trajectory and develop the dispassion right there, and then you recognize that, okay, it looks nice. This little puppy romping around looks very nice there. Swasthani in its own place. Vishishyate, it is giving shobha there. It is, it is exalted in its own place. And then you think of your own house, which is not puppy proof, and then it will knock off everything else, starting with your sanity, and then what? And then you'll be, a raving mess. And so like this, you imagine the whole scenario right at the time at which you are looking and you are contacting the object, and then Vairagya is born. Vairagya upajayate. Vairagya is born. As soon as you start looking objectively at the whole responsibility and the uselessness of this particular acquisition. What is it, whether it's a person, place, thing, situation, doesn't matter. How is it going to enhance my life? Is it really worth it? And the answer always is no. Except for Vedanta knowledge. Every other question, the answer always is no, it's not going to enhance your life. No, but I want it. Well, that's what has to be healed, is the want. And here, the person's wants are healed. And so, Vishayan Charan. So, moving around uninhibitedly in the world of the sensory objects. The senses are contacting the sense objects, but there is no longing. The longing has gone. Really, the only longing is to belong. That's all it is. Otherwise, one is left belonging. That's what it is. The only longing is to belong and to feel part of everything and to feel unalienated. That's the only longing. And once one has understood this, then one tackles that longing upon which all the other longings are resting. So, prasadam adhigacchati, this tranquility is what needs to be gained, and in the wake of this tranquility, all the other things happen. And that is what we are going to see in the next class, what happens as a result of this tranquility. Next class is next week.
Yes.
Yeah, so next week we will see the Bhashya and the next verse. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Not next week. Next week is the Labor Day retreat.
Yeah, next week is Labor Day weekend
So not
retreat.
this class.
It's after that.
The weekend after.
Yeah, weekend after that. Labor Day weekend retreat will be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yes. Questions?
Actually, That's the dance performance. What we taught that day, Swami.
I don't know what that is.
I don't think, I'll look.
If it is not there, we'll cancel it. We'll let people know tomorrow.
Yeah.
When the next Gita class is. No questions.